This is where it all started. This is when Luka Doncic took it personally and had to teach the Phoenix Suns a lesson. This is when Luka Doncic had to show the league his magic, his Luka Magic. Because in that Game 7, Luka Doncic in the Mavs gave the Suns the biggest whooping of a very long time. Luka Doncic was on the bench in the third quarter thinking about the Warriors already. After the series, the league finally figured out that Luka Doncic was legit, and this season has been nothing different. Luka Doncic, you all know the name. Luka Magic, Luka Legend, the father of Devin Booker and CP0 rings. What Luka Doncic has been doing this year has been unreal. Like literally unreal. This is how many people in the NBA have put up 33 8-8 per game in NBA history. No one has ever put up 33 8-8 in a season. Not Jordan, not LeBron, not Magic, not Russell Westbrook, no one. Luka Doncic is having a historical season so far, to say the least. Luka Doncic is leading the league in points per game and player efficiency rating, and he's doing so by a large margin. Let's take a look at the points per game first. Luka Doncic is leading the league in points per game with a whopping 33.5. The next closest player to him is Jason Tatum, who is 1.9 points off of him. Now, this may not seem like a huge gap, but then you look at the margins of the next highest players, and then it really looks impressive. Luka's margin is at least 4 times bigger than most of the closest players to each other. Although the league is very talented right now, and there's a lot of competition right now for the kid, let's compare this season so far to historic seasons of the past. Of the list of highest point per game in a season by a single player, Luka Doncic's season ranks 20th all time. This is actually very impressive, considering most of these players played about 50 years ago, where the possessions per game were astronomically high compared to today, or they were a big man, making it easier to score big, or both. In this list, 9 of these seasons were from big men, and 13 were from players from the 70s or earlier. So that leaves us with 6 single-player seasons left, 3 of which are held by Michael Jordan from the late 80s. 1 is held by Kobe from the 05 and 06 season, the season where he had his famous 81-point game, and 2 are held by James Harden in 2019 and 2020. Besides Luka, there's only 4 other guards from, we'll say, a reasonable time frame that have averaged this many points per game in a season. Luka Doncic is currently first place in the league for PER, player efficiency rating. This stat, as simply explained, shows how efficient a player is on the floor. It combines aspects like points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, missed shots, turnovers, and games played to give us an accurate number. Luka Doncic and Nikola Jokic are in a really close battle for first place in the NBA for this stat. Once again, let's take a look at how this season ranks amongst the highest individual PER seasons. Luka Doncic's season ranks 12th all time. Despite who was on the points per game list, the majority of these players are from a more recent era. There's only 3 single seasons that were later than 1985 on here, and they're all held by Wilt Chamberlain. There's really only a handful of players that dominate the list besides Wilt Chamberlain: Jordan, Jokic, Giannis, Curry, and LeBron. Luka Doncic has put himself in historically great company. Only 6 players have ever had a PER over 31.4. Luka Doncic right now is 23 years old. Not only are the numbers he's putting up right now astonishing, but to do it this young, no one has ever done this before, right? Well, let's take a look at this right now. To really show how great Luka Doncic is playing at such a young age, I made a couple charts. This first one shows Luka's PER over his first 5 years. To even have a PER in the 30s is already insane. But how about we compare him to some historic competition? Let's start it off with another big guard, Magic Johnson. Let's next look at another top 2 point guard of all time, Steph Curry. Let's really step up this challenge for Luka and compare him to the 2 greatest players of all time, LeBron James and Michael Jordan. Luka more than holds his ground with a lot of these legends. As reference, Luka Doncic was drafted at the age of 19 years old. Magic was 20, Curry was 21, Jordan was 21, and LeBron was 19 when they were drafted. Let's look at some more basic stats. I made a similar styled chart that shows the first 5 years of Luka Doncic and the greats compared against him. But this time we're going to measure the combined total points, rebounds, and assists per game for each season. Luka Doncic obviously has some very impressive numbers. Let's look at his competition once again. Magic Johnson, Steph Curry, LeBron James, and Michael Jordan. By no means am I trying to say that Luka Doncic is better than any of these guys. What I'm trying to show you guys is how historically great Doncic has been at such a young age compared to younger versions of some of the best NBA players of all time. What Doncic has been doing this season and his whole career so far have been insane. It's been historically remarkable. Obviously, Luka Doncic has really been stuffing the stat sheet this season, but is that really it? Another reason Luka Doncic stands out so much is the way in which he scores his points. Who would have thought a guy that looks like someone's uncle on the sidelines would give you almost a 33-point triple-double on any given night? Luka Doncic's game is quite different from your average superstar. Who would have thought a point guard posting up would actually be an effective play in 2022? Luka Doncic is trying to bring up the post-up game back from its grave. The funny thing is it's not just his own position he's successfully posting up, it's even centers he's having success posting up.
Luka inside.
That's a whole 7'2" big man that Luka made look like a little kid. Obviously, you can just point to the fact that Luka is a big guard with unreal strength. Although you would be right, Luka also has Hakeem-like, Jordan-like footwork in the paint. Like, just look at what this point guard is doing to people in the paint. It's unreal. But his post-ups aren't even the main story. What really separates Luka Doncic from the rest of the league is really two things: the way he manipulates defenses and his patience on offense. Both of these skills really just show how well he controls the game. Luka Doncic isn't going to let anyone get him out of his own rhythm. He's not going to let the defense speed him up to make him make bad decisions. Let's look at this play of him taking Cam Johnson one-on-one. Luka Doncic is very patient and calculated with these moves. He's getting into his spots and getting into his moves, whether the defense likes it or not. When Luka is on the floor, it's his game, not anyone else's. Luka is also really good at manipulating a defense, especially through using his best weapon, his eyes, to give him and his teammates the best possible shot. With Doncic's ability to change speeds, change direction, and mislead defenses, he's able to pretty much get whatever he wants out there. Despite being as slow as a turtle, Doncic can almost do anything on the floor, and defenses can't even stop it. His bag is so deep at such a young age, it's almost scary. What makes him so dangerous is not only can he put the ball in the hoop whenever, wherever he wants, but it's that he's such a good playmaker that defenses can't help too much on him, or else Doncic will make them pay. There's really no way to stop this kid. It doesn't really matter what defenses do. Doncic almost all of the time is going to get himself or his teammates a good shot through his craftiness, his elite offensive bag, or just the sheer magnitude he draws on offense. Now, you may be wondering, if Luka Doncic is playing so well right now, how come it doesn't say that in the Mavs record? If you're looking at some of the other MVP candidates, like Jason Tatum, Giannis, Ja Morant, Nikola Jokic, their teams are doing pretty well right now. Why not Luka and the Mavs? Well, obviously it's early in the season. The Mavs record will most likely improve. It's no secret that the Mavericks are really just Luka Doncic. Like, you might as well just call them the Dallas Lukas. That really has been the Mavs' problem holding them back in the playoffs. Luka Doncic, throughout his 5 years in the NBA so far, has always put up great numbers come playoff time, but Luka has never really had a second star that complements his game. Despite the unbelievable stats he's putting up right now, I'm doubtful he can maintain those numbers throughout the whole season. The Mavs need a second star. The Mavs need a second star to take pressure off of him. They first tried this with Porzingis, but that obviously didn't work. Last season, you could say Jalen Brunson was the second star in the playoffs, but that wasn't enough to win a chip. This season, I guess their best complementary piece towards Doncic is either Christian Wood or Spencer Dinwiddie. It looks like the Mavericks' strategy this year was to stack role players around Luka that complement his play style and see how far he can take this team. I highly doubt this will get them a ring. I think this sounds kind of redundant to say year after year, but the Mavericks need to acquire a superstar alongside Doncic if they want to have any chance at winning a championship with this roster. Luka Doncic can put up all the historically great numbers, but what does it really matter if he can't win? Despite the lack of success the Dallas Mavericks have seen in the last decade, I think it's necessary that we appreciate the greatness of Luka Doncic and all the groundbreaking things he's done at such a young age. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this.